All right, so let's go deep dive into how to create this background or something similar, right? So not a deep dive, really just a quick summary. Store this animation because I might regret it and go back. And so now we'll clear it and we'll free the animation. There it is. And I want to make it a little bit smaller so it'll be faster to go through. Let's go to image, actually create a new one. Let's make it whatever it currently is and then half the size, and heck, even that, no, that's too small. Let's go this much here. All right, so we have a little animation. Actually not yet. Let's go create. Let's say we want 123. And we will render the filter for the sky. So that's a render sky, the new sky filter. And we're not going to be too picky. We just need to get something going here. But one thing I do want is the time. So the clouds are being lit by the sun from underneath it, right? So go to something like this. So you see the clouds illumination from underneath. The sun is there. You could look over to the right and so on, but it still is going to be important to have the time in such a way that the coloration shows the bright side of the clouds, not from atop here, but from below, right? And then at the end we will simply mirror it upside down, vertically, right? So we might see the cloud, we might not. It may not matter. Let's see, adjust the phase here, absorption. You have all sorts of parameters. Let's not get sidetracked into too many of these. We really are just doing a little test here. Maybe a bit smaller, a little bit more on this, a little bit more persistence, coverage, that's getting really cloudy, and thickness, right? Okay, so now we are going to render it at about this much, so we don't even see the sun, right? So render it like this, maybe even a little bit to the side. And no, let's go to where the sun is, but let's have the sun not visible, and animate that. And so we'll keep the time as is. We'll have the cloud coverage, nothing changes. We'll just keep, actually everything here will just stay the default because we really don't want to experiment too much there. We'll just render it one frame after another. The point is that the clouds are upside down from what we really want, and right now the illumination is on the lower side of the clouds, and then when we flip it upside down it will be on the upper side, and so we can actually make it look like we're flying over the clouds as opposed to what we have by default, which is where we are under the clouds. All right, and so that's it. I am actually going to make this much shorter. I only have about 12. Let's wait to 20 frames. You can see I'm not on a super fast system here, GPU wise or whatever we need here. The RAM is good, it's fast. But if you want this to be larger, you will need to either scale it up after rendering and maybe do a little bit of magic with some interpolation. We will do, we got 20. Let's go stop that and cancel, and I'm done. I don't need this. So we have a bunch of frames here I'm gonna keep, and then I have a bunch of frames I don't care for. So let's go select the first frame here and then go to the end, select the last frame, and now the whole thing is selected. We can right click and delete the block. So we have a very short animation. And I'm going to make it a little bit larger. I'm going to make it, this time I'm going to use the motion prediction module. Actually, before I do that, remember to store, so animation store. So we have a stored copy here. You never know when the next time is we run out of memory. So here we have a tiny little animation, and what I want to do is filter it upside down, flip it, image, flip vertical, right? And so now we should have the impression that this is sort of boiling hot water coming up. We could have changed the angle or the direction on during the animation. There's a X, Y, Z direction you can change, and so you could make it go. This looks like it's rising, you know, it's like elevation coming up. And maybe it's the you know moisture coming in over a hot area over the desert, and it's causing it to rise. But most importantly, you might want to change the background. Maybe what's red you want to change to blue or some other color. So there's a couple of other things you can do here. There is the color swap and the color, where is it? Adjust here. No, I think it's under here. Color swap channels and roll channels. So swap channels, there you go, that one gives us a nice little bluish. And so this is kind of what you would do if you are flying in an airplane high altitude over the clouds, and below it it's still bluish in appearance. Or because you want to do some blue screen compositing on top of that, right? You have some other scene that needs to appear behind it, and you want the blue to be actually use that for transparency masking. So that's another thing you can do here. And let's say you wanted the whole thing to last longer. We've seen before you can use the time stretch to make it twice as long. I'm not going to use this technique. This time here I'm going to say use the animated interpolation with the motion prediction module. And that one can actually be interesting because it may introduce additional turbulence. Let's do a dry run and just check it out. Go. It looks pretty decent. I'm gonna go and say 5 tweens per frame, and so we get to roughly the number of frames we have in the drone. And so now we can dry run it and go. And so now here we go. We have now a new sky, and that new sky we can easily use to have a whole bunch of these drones once again appear on top. Something like this here. Maybe we'll have it all the way in the back there and much smaller. And a little bit transparency might not hurt, but let's go with the settings for that. There it is. And give it a little bit smaller size. That's there, and then smaller step distance. There, so we have a fairly small appearance for that drone, and we will once again just paint it. And you know, this time maybe we'll with the Alt key, right? But this time we can go up and down a little bit because there's some turbulence there, right? So you can make it look like this turbulence is causing it to a little bit wiggle. You might even do some rotational move here. There's some use the direction of the pointer's motion to determine the angle of the brush. So that's going to rotate it. Woo! So you can do all sorts of crazy acts here. Okay, all right, so I'll let you play with that. There's plenty to explore and have fun with, but you know, some of that will be very useful when you start compositing it, when you start blending it with others. And in fact, I'm going to do one last thing, and that is to composite the animation with another one. All right, so now I didn't store, no, I think I did store. I stored this one. Let's go back to that. And I stored that one. I'm going to go filter it one more time to the other color. This time not to blue, but maybe to green. I think that's what we'll get. Instead of swapping, I'll go to rolling the channels. Oh no, it's kind of a purplish. And I'm going to go still flip it vertically. Flip vertical. So we have that. This time I'm going to make it slower by the time stretch. A more traditional approach. Let's make it like this. And ooh, that looks ugly. Yeah, definitely not my favorite. So I'm not going to use that. I'm going to use the motion prediction module. It's much easier to, much better looking. So where is it? Animated motion prediction module. And we've seen it work, so we can just go straight to 5 and go. And if there is additional side effects or noise introduced, then all the better, right? Don't need to, we can actually use that. So I'm gonna go to well, you know, we don't need to flip it vertically every time. Let's keep it like this. First frame we can ditch since the motion prediction module leaves that one as the same as the end frame. And so now I'm gonna, oh, maybe we can adjust the hue saturation value there. So that's another way you can give it just a different appearance, right? And so one thing I want to do is give it that dark blue, so we can do some blue screening with that. Let's see, with more saturation and a little bit more brightness, just about like this. Okay, so animate that across, so we have all of these frame turn the clouds against the blue background. Now I want to have another sky system behind it, right, to show just two different animations. So I'm going to store this one, and that's kind of a first look at really doing compositing. I have this animation still, and that one's going the same direction, but it's reddish and it's much shorter. So let's say we actually use one that is a different, oh, where was that other cloud animation we had where it was flying towards us? There, this one. That one had about the same number of frames. All right, so what I'm going to do is actually composite the two together, where this one, the blue one, is going to be in front and flying from left to right. Right, that's the way this one goes. But the other one is going to be, this one here, is going to be, and needs to be the same dimensions, preferably, so I'm going to resample it. What was this one here? Maybe I can resample that one. Doesn't matter, I just need to make them the same. So I'm going to resample this one. It's a 640. I'm going to go to 800. So lock the aspect ratio to 800 by 400. That's a 2-to-1 ratio. There you go. Don't need this one anymore because I'm about to store it and not lose it. There you go. So we have the blue one right here, and then this one we'll need to make sure 800 by 400, same thing. So image, resample, and I don't know if that will be exactly the same, 800 by 400. There you go, same aspect ratio. Okay, so let's go. And now we have the two animations we want, and we want to combine them. Again, these could be completely different animations. Just happens to be that both of them are clouds. In fact, I could take this one, and the drone will still appear. Hey, why don't we do that? Or this one, right? And the drones, multiple drones, will appear through the transparent blue skies. That's actually something that makes sense. What am I doing here? So let's do that. I'm going to go like this. And I'm going to say, how many frames do we have? Is this about the same? Yeah, it's fewer, but that's okay. We'll match it to 84, I think it is. Okay, so what we'll do is go to resample this one. Resample there to 800. 800 by 400. So we have all these drones, all this activity showing. And then once this is done, we don't need this guy anymore. Okay, gone, 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 gone. Okay, so here we have a lot of drones on a fairly dark sky moving towards us above our head. And then this one, let's store that. That's this one here, and then this one should also have, yeah, same dimension, but should have the same number of frames. It's a little bit more right now, 98. So you know what, I'm gonna do that with this one. Now I'm gonna use this one and simply turn it to 84, if I remember. I better double check that. I want to make sure I have the right number of frames here. 84. I mean, it's frame number 84, so there's a total of 85 frames. And I'm going to go right click here and time stretch it to bring it down to 85 frames. And that's the one I want to store and use. So we don't need this one anymore. We have it right here. So this one here is going to be the front, and this one here is going to be the back. This one is the image we want to see if we don't see it here, because we're going to blend it out against the blue. I think that's the order. I always get them confused, right? So do we hide? Do we make holes here to show this behind, or the other way around? I don't know. So I think what we'll do is we'll show this one in the foreground. That's what we have here right now. And then we'll show this one as the swap image, which is showing when we use the S for swap. We can see it right there. And then we'll combine them in a blue screen compositing mode. So we go to the filter, composite with swap, right? Blue screen, and that's not it. It's showing this, it's showing the swap. Maybe we need to adjust how much blue removal we want. Yeah, no, it's the other way around then. See, that's what I said, it's always the other way around. So I'm going to use this, and it's blue screen with swap. So we put this one in swap, that's the one. So that makes sense now. So I usually see this, but when I have this guy, I still want to see it, except with, but only where the blue is. Right. So I have the filter for composite with blue screen, and so this one should now it still doesn't do what I thought. So maybe I had it the right way before. Yeah, yeah, it is looking at this. So you know what? Let's go load this one back and just be a little bit more stringent on the settings. Now you can actually, maybe it's a different blue, but the color key would allow you to be a little bit more precise there. But let's try still. This one here should give me the other. No, that's clearly coming from here. Or maybe I'm not on the first frame. I don't know. There's something odd about it here. Well, let's see. Let's combine it and see what happens. Animate, go. No, I don't think that this did it. I don't have a selection issue here. No, clearly not. I don't see the compositing happening. I must be doing something wrong. There is something I'm doing wrong. So you know what? Let's use the other technique. Instead of what's called the blue screen, I'm going to use... Oh, wait, I didn't select. I need to make this a swap. Okay, let's do it again. Blue screen here in the front, and then this guy is animated swap. So I think that's what it was. Boy, I'm going to take this a lot of time here. Swap blue screen. Still not what I was hoping to see. Just render it to try, but yes. Okay, so now we see the clouds that are here in the front, but the blue areas are not visible, and instead you see the drones that are coming from this animation, which came from the swap. There you go, that makes sense. So the main animation is here. Wherever it's blue, we're going to screen on that to make it transparent to see it here. And so now you see this. Right, so you now have even more depth perception here, because all this stuff is above, above these close clouds, and you could have just small ones, and then you could have a big one right in front. After you've done that compositing, you can do even more. You can say, well, let's get back to that brush here and make it here with settings, make it something like a fairly big size. Let's preview it, and even bigger than that. There you go. And step distance, something like this. Yeah, that's big. It's maybe too big. Okay, and I don't need it to follow or change angle. I do want to do a few other things. Custom brush transform, that's fine. All right, so now now I'm gonna do another Alt key down and simply paint, and I'm gonna make it go a little like go in different angles here, like an infinite sign, right? Have some infinite fun here. So with the Alt key down, you can see it's, I should have had it moving faster. You know, let me see if I actually successfully stored it. That's not the one. I don't need this one. That's not the one either. It's probably one of those. Nope. Oh, yeah, I could use this one. So let's just redo that. This one here at the front. This one as a swap. And this time actually I'll use the other filter for compositing. You could combine with swap and find the blue here too, I suppose. Maybe not. Yeah, it really is compositing at that point. So instead of blue screen, I could use the color key, and you just click the color, right? And then when you have that, you'll see that it's turning that transparent. But you can adjust the crispness of that, right? And that's what you do with this the high clip. Right? There you go. So it gives you a little bit of a soft edge transition here. You can see, you can select, in fact you can make the clouds transparent if you prefer that whitish look. But let's go on the blue background and animate that. We've done this before. Now what I want to do is just paint on that. And here actually you could use the brush keyframer for some more fun, you know. Might as well preview what it's going to look like across the keyframes. And I still have the old keyframe sequence. Let's clear it. So there you go. So now you have perhaps a keyframe at the big, or let's say in the middle. You want it here. It looks like it still has a memory of where it was or where it might go through. So I'm gonna go. There you go. Yeah, it's not moving much anymore, but it still has a size I need to adjust. So let's keyframe it at the end. Let's go here at the beginning, make it a little bit bigger. Something like this, make it a little bit rotated. Keyframe it to that. And somewhere here, maybe maybe we want to add a little bit of jiggles, a little bit of noise, a little bit down, a little bit rotation, keyframe it, and then up here, keyframe it. There you go. So now you have a little bit more of wacky behavior here. And drones behave very wacky. I mean, they can be super fast in changing directions and stuff like that. Let's do that. Scale size and render. Right. So now you have yet another impression of this, and here we go. So all along we have this one bright, big drone here that's keeping an eye on us, but in the back you see there's an army and invasion of tons of others coming in from the compositing results that we have here. And of course, if you want to make it look like this was somewhere on a different planet, you can turn it into a grayscale. So many other things to do at this point, like using a color key, maybe the red, maybe the blue. Key that across the entire animation, and there you go. Alright, well, I promise that's it for now. Keep an eye on this. There might be some new additions occasionally, but I certainly think we have the basics here for working with image sequences or AVI files and animations to composite it into something a bit more sophisticated. And thank you very much.